Chloe, 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 Chloe. Call me a simp. I will not fight it. So today we're going to be showing off the Hololive Production 2 deck profile that I made. Because I am a purist, this is a Mono Generation 6 deck, aka Secret Society Holox. This deck uses Chloe level 1 and Laplus Darkness level 3. What is interesting about this deck is that there is not that many cards that you can actually pull from because set 1 Hololive only had up to Generation 5. Generation 6 was introduced in the premium booster set that was released last year in English. 1 year later, we can now build a full deck. So with that out of the way, let's start off with the level 0s. Spreading the word Chloe stats: when this card is placed from the stage to the waiting room, you could ditch a character and search the 3/2 Laplus Darkness or the 0/0 Louis. I will explain what those cards do a lot later, but just a heads up, you need to snag that Laplus quickly because a lot of cards have effects that use that specific Laplus as a resonance target. That Louis is shelter in a shared umbrella. She states that when one of your other characters trigger checks a climax, you marker a character face down from your waiting room and act. Send the marker to the waiting room. You give a character soul and resonate. Pay 1. Reveal the 3/2 Laplus Darkness and rest this card. Top check up to 3 cards, add a character or the event, the Secret Society Holox that I will explain a lot later, and then you ditch the rest. So this is your pseudo brainstormer. It is nice that your event is a valid target, so you are not going to whiff there. This card is also very nice in those circumstances where you don't have any climaxes in your deck and you can just plus a little. Gaining the extra soul is also really nice as well. Wishing for a future with you, Coyote gains a soul if she is in the middle position and she is a climax swap. Wishing for the future with you, Ito has a drop search and on attack, top check 2 and rearrange them in any order. You are going to choose what to trigger and you know what your trigger is going to be next. That is pretty solid. If you have those Laplus Darkness from the premium booster sets, you just toss them in here. I don't have that kind of cash, so we're running Tree of Fried Chicken Laplus Darkness. This is a level 0 stock bomb, and when this card is played from your hand, you could ditch a card, search the event. Handmade Charm Iroha is on play from hand. You could top check your deck, and if it's a character or an event, this gains 2k power for the turn. And at the start of your opponent's draw phase, you mill 2. If you milled a level 2 or higher card, you bounce this card back to your hand. The power boost is pretty nice, and the milling is also really good. All this talk about the event, but what does it do? Secret Society Holox states that you cannot play this card from your hand if you have 2 or less Secret Society Holox characters. So you need to have 3 or more of them to get this card's effect going. Search your deck for a climax, then you give a character 2k power for the turn. I was actually short a climax for 1 game, but I had this. I played it and I grabbed it instantly. In a sense, you're adding an extra playable copy of the climax in your deck, because this card will replace the climax that you're missing when it's in your hand. Obviously, you aren't going to cancel when you reveal this during the damage step. Here is your Brainstormer 1 to fight Iroha. During your turn, this gives your other character in the middle position 1k5 power. And Brainstorm, pay 1, tap self, salvaging Brainstorm. Now I know what you're thinking. If you're such a Chloe simp, why don't you run the Chloe Brainstormer from the premium booster set? Sorry if you actually sound like that. That is because this has a soul trigger and it is a level 1. Now the soul trigger is for the choice climaxes, so we have more valid targets, and the level 1 is for the level 1 Chloe, which we'll get to in a bit. Hunting Fried Chicken Laplus states, resonate, that when this card is played on stage from your hand, you could ditch a card, reveal the 3/2 Laplus Darkness, top check up to 3 cards, add a character or the event to your hand, then this card gains 500 power for the turn. So you dig deeper into your deck for whatever you need. It's a really solid card. Here's your beater. Methods of Success Louis states that this gains 1k power for each character in your back row, and on attack, if you have 2 or more other characters, you top check 2, place them back on top, and you ditch the other one. So you choose what to trigger, essentially. You could play around with the ratio between this card and this card. I personally like it like this, with this as 3 and this at 2, but it will definitely change the more that I play this deck. And finally, let's step towards the future Chloe. You know I had to play this one. On attack, if you have another character, this card gains 3k power and climax combo. You resonate the 3/2 Laplus Darkness. On attack, if you have only 2 of us at the beach, God, I wish. Resonate, salvage a character, then you top check your deck, and if it's a level 1 or higher card, you stock it. The climax is a 1k1 and a door when triggered. So that is super solid. There are a lot of things that mill in this deck, so you're going to be loading up your waiting room. And there are a lot of level 1 and higher cards in this deck, so the chances of stocking them is pretty high. Solid card, and she's cute. Level 2s, let's keep this train going. A Step Towards the Future Takane Louis is a backup, 2k5 power to our character when you pay 1, and you can pay 2, ditch a character, anti-early drop. A Step Towards the Future Coyote is a level assist, 500 forward, and Resonate, the 3/2 Laplus Darkness, and then you rest this card. Choose an opponent's character and they lose 1 key power and gain the following ability. During this card's battle, you cannot play backups. So there is a power boost on your end, and your opponent loses 1 key power and can't play backups. It is pretty solid. Only one because there are multiple ways of snagging this card from your waiting room or from your deck. A Step Towards the Future Edelhaz states that at the start of your climax phase, you resonate the 3/2 Laplus Darkness. This gains 6k power for the turn, and her other effect is on reverse if it's a level 2 or higher character, Blind Stock. So she is going to be at 12k5 powered. She is essentially an assassin, which is shorthand for cards that gain power to run over other cards. Well, I mean, that is definitely flavorful. And the Blind Stock is pretty nice. Off to the level 3s and our early plays. Always by your side, Coyote states that if you have 2 or more copies of itself in the waiting room, this loses a level in your hand. Yeah, no joke. If you have 2 or more other characters, this gains 1k5 power and character discard Encore. And on play from a hand, you search your character. You are going to be snagging whatever you need, most likely another copy of the Laplus Darkness for her own effect. And you can thin out your deck as well. Also, 2 or more copies of itself in the waiting room. Now, that is power creep. Now, this card is going to be played possibly after you deck refresh, but I have not had that issue yet. Also, please don't make fun of me that I'm using mixed rarities. I pulled this from my box and I want to play it. Here is the last card. Finally, we got to talk about this. A Step Towards the Future Laplus Darkness. On play, heal, and on attack, if you have both hands full of happiness, which is this card right here, this card gains the following ability until the end of the turn. Once per turn, cancel burr 1 X times. X is equal to the amount of Laplus Darknesses that you have in play. 1 or lower is 1, 2 or more is 2. The climax is a 1k1 and a choice when triggered. Yeah, this isn't the best, but it does put pressure on your opponent. The burns are singular, so there is less of a chance for the whole instance of damage being cancelled. Use the Coyote to help boost her up in power, and you should be good. And there we have it. This deck is pretty solid, but the finisher is a little lacking. I built this because of Chloe, and I like Laplus. She is kind of funny, and she likes Shadowverse. Either way, because you are using a resonance for nearly all of the quote good cards, you are going to need that Laplus into your hand quickly, so that should be the first thing you should work towards. If you don't, your level 1 won't work, your Pseudo Brainstormer won't work, and you're essentially just dead in the water. Now, that is another thing that you have to keep track of, which kind of sucks, but hey, we're all good players here. Now, the grand total of this deck, now, I did open up 2 boxes of Hololive production, so there is that I have to account for, but all the extra singles I paid $15 for. And honestly, the cards that I did get from the boxes wasn't even that much, so I would say around $25. You got this whole deck right here, boy. Now, Chloe and Coyote do have Shadowverse Evolve collabs coming up, so you know that I'm going to be getting that in JP, not in English, because we didn't get the Laplus Darkness collab ones. Either way, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more Weiss Schwarz news and content, and thank you all to my channel members scrolling up over here. They helped me build this deck with their support. If you want emotes and videos early, become a YouTube member. Why not? It's only $1 or something. You help me make different style of videos on the channel. Thank you again. Catch y'all later. Oh, I forgot to mention, it's actually super important that you have Chloe sleeves or this deck is going to suck ass.